Hey guys, I wanted to give a big thank you to Margbot for narrating this video. She's got a great channel, a lot of interesting content, so be sure to check it out. And while you're there, check out part 2 of our collaboration, narrated by me. So, without further ado, I hope you enjoy.
The Children of God was founded in 1968 by David Berg. He viewed the trend towards a new world order as setting the stage for the rise of the Antichrist. His writings were often extreme and uncompromising in their denunciation of what he believed to be evil, such as mainstream churches, pedophilia laws, capitalism, and Jews. The cult promoted horrific assaults on children and sexual abuse of women and children for decades. Berg predicted several apocalyptic events that did not occur. His best known was the comet Kohoutek. He predicted it would wreak havoc and possible destruction. He also predicted that California would imminently fall into the ocean, the tribulation would begin in 1989, and the second coming of Jesus would happen in 1993. The movement for the restoration of the Ten Commandments of God was a breakaway religious movement from the Roman Catholic Church, founded by Credonia Marwende, Joseph Kibwetere, and B. Tate in Uganda in the 1980s. They taught that to avoid damnation in the apocalypse, one had to strictly follow the commandments. The emphasis on the commandments was so strong that the group discouraged talking, for fear of breaking the 9th commandment, "Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor." And on some days, communication was only conducted in sign language. They believed that the world would end at the beginning of the year 2000. Once January 1st passed, a second prediction for the apocalypse came into place for March 17th, 2000. On this date, they held a huge party in which the church caught fire. 530 people died within. 4 days after the church fire, police investigated the movement properties and discovered hundreds of bodies at sites across southern Uganda. The People's Temple was a religious movement founded in 1955 by Jim Jones in Indianapolis, Indiana. Jones used the People's Temple to spread a message that combined elements of Christianity with socialist politics, with an emphasis on racial equality. The group moved to California in the 1960s and established several locations throughout the state, including its headquarters in San Francisco. At its peak, the temple boasted 20,000 members and connections with many left-wing political figures. In 1974, the People's Temple signed a lease to rent land in Guyana. On November 17, 1978, Leo Ryan, a congressman from the San Francisco area investigating claims of abuse within the People's Temple, visited Jonestown. During this visit, a number of temple members expressed a desire to leave with the congressman, and on the afternoon of November 18th, these members accompanied Ryan to the local airstrip at Port Kaituma. There, they were intercepted by several self-styled temple security guards who opened fire on the group, killing Congressman Ryan, 3 journalists, and 1 of the temple defectors. A few seconds of gunfire from the incident were captured on video by Bob Brown, one of the journalists killed in the attack. On the evening of November 18th in Jonestown, Jones ordered his congregation to drink a concoction of cyanide-laced grape-flavored Kool-Aid. In all, 918 people died, including 276 children. It was the greatest single loss of American civilian life in a deliberate act until the events of September 11, 2001. Scientology is a body of religious beliefs and practices developed in 1954 by American author L. Ron Hubbard. The core of Scientology teaching lies in the belief that each human has a reactive mind that responds to life's traumas, clouding the analytic mind and keeping us from experiencing reality. Scientologists undergo auditing to discover sources of this trauma, believing that re-experiencing it neutralizes it and reinforces the ascendancy of the analytic mind, with the final goal believed to be achieving a spiritual state that Scientology calls clear. Some members are required to shun friends or family members who are antagonistic to the church. In 1978, a number of Scientologists, including L. Ron Hubbard's wife, Mary Sue Hubbard, who was second in command in the organization at the time, were convicted of perpetrating what was, at the time, the largest incident of domestic espionage in the history of the United States, called Operation Snow White. This involved infiltrating, wiretapping, and stealing documents from the offices of federal attorneys and the IRS. Scientology has historically engaged in hostile actions towards its critics. Executives within the organization have proclaimed that Scientology is not a turn-the-other-cheek religion. Journalists, politicians, former Scientologists, and various anti-cult groups have made accusations of wrongdoing against Scientology since the 1960s, and Scientology has targeted these critics almost without exception for retaliation in the form of lawsuits and public counter-accusations of personal wrongdoing. Many of Scientology's critics have also reported they were subject to threats and harassment in their private lives.